Welcome to the Wha-khem universe, where fan theories come to life, hidden details get uncovered, and your favorite worlds get even more exciting. Let's dive in. Today, let's talk about one of the most intriguing Pokémon out there, Ditto. At first glance, Ditto may seem like a quirky little blob that can transform into any Pokémon it sees, but there's a deeper connection between Ditto and the legendary Mew that many may not realize. What if I told you Ditto wasn't just a Pokémon in its own right, but actually a failed clone of Mew? Now we know that Ditto and Mew share a lot of similarities. For one, both have the same color and weight. They also both share the ability to learn the move Transform, an ability that's exclusive to Mew and Ditto. But the parallels don't stop there. Ditto is also a genderless Pokémon that can breed with almost any other Pokémon, which, when you think about it, suggests that Ditto may be biologically unstable or, more likely, designed to adapt and fit any form. But here's where things get even more interesting. In the Pokémon games, particularly in Pokémon Mansion on Cinnabar Island, where we know the infamous Mewtwo was created, you can actually find Ditto roaming wild. Now think about this. What if Ditto is the result of failed cloning experiments based on Mew's DNA? This is a theory that fits neatly with the idea of Ditto being more than just an oddball Pokémon. It's possible that Ditto represents the aftermath of scientific experimentation, a form of Mew that never quite worked out the way the researchers intended. So how did Ditto come into existence? We know that Mewtwo was created in the labs of Cinnabar Island, but could Ditto have been part of the same experiments? It's implied in the games that the scientists in the Pokémon Mansion were experimenting with Mew's DNA, and after multiple failed attempts, Ditto emerged. However, unlike Mewtwo, who became the perfect clone of Mew, though with its own enhancements, Ditto was left as a formless, identityless Pokémon. It's almost like Ditto is the scrap that was left behind after the cloning process failed. The implications of this are fascinating. First, consider this. There could be thousands of Dittos in existence, all of them the result of failed Mew clones. Each Ditto, a remnant of a cloning experiment that went wrong. Ditto's blank, emotionless face could represent the loss of identity that comes with cloning, whereas Mewtwo, the so-called perfect clone, has its own strong sense of self and purpose. Ditto remains a shapeless creature, forever stuck in the cycle of transformation with no true identity of its own. And then there's the fact that Ditto is everywhere. It's not an anomaly, it's common, and it can transform into literally anything. But what if this ability to change forms isn't just a quirky feature of Ditto? What if it's a result of its instability as a clone? Mew's abilities are powerful and unique, but when replicated, they result in something more flawed, something that can adapt but never truly be itself. Ditto's ability to transform is a perfect metaphor for the identity crisis it faces. It can take on any form, but in doing so, it never gets to know itself. In contrast, Mewtwo, who was the successful clone, represents the culmination of the experiment. Mewtwo was given not just the powers of Mew, but also a strong sense of individuality and purpose. Mewtwo may have been created through similar means, but the difference is that Mewtwo's abilities and identity were carefully crafted. On the other hand, Ditto is just the leftovers, the experiment that didn't make the cut. This brings us to an unsettling thought. Ditto could be the graveyard of failed Mew clones. Each Ditto represents an experiment that never succeeded, left behind to wander, incapable of finding its true identity, unlike Mewtwo, who stands as the perfect clone. While Ditto is still useful in its own right, the truth is that it may be a sad reminder of what happens when scientific ambition goes wrong, when attempts to recreate perfection result in something else entirely. Thanks for tuning in to the Wha-khem universe. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, peace.